Brian Shirley finally got the monkey off his back in a fantastic duel between him and Jason Feger at Fairbury for the 2025 Summer Nationals Hell Tour. Great race here. Lots of different storylines, but obviously the main one being Shirley finally getting into victory lane after suffering some issues early on in the week. Roll this up over at stockcarreport.com. You can find the link in the description below, and you can see he was a happy camper there in victory lane, and justifiably so. So just kind of give you some context of how he struggled throughout the week. He had shown a ton of speed this past week, but suffered a mechanical issue during his heat race at Brownstown after setting the fastest lap in his qualifying group, and then a flat tire took him out of what looked to be a surefire win at Peoria. However, when he wasn't having issues, he put together a strong third-place finish at Kankakee. He, as I said, delivered on that speed last night at Fairbury American Legion Speedway with his first Hell Tour victory of the year and his 43rd overall. He started his night off strong with a third-place qualifying run in Group B that put him on the pole for Heat 6, which he dominated. He then aced the redraw by starting on the pole for the feature. However, the feature was anything but easy for Shirley. He had to fend off both Drake Troutman and Ryan Unzicker in multiple restarts due to a bevy of cautions early in the race. Once things finally got sorted and the race had its first long green flag run, Shirley paced the field until he got into lap traffic. Upon arriving in lap traffic, Shirley struggled to work his way through it as they were racing 2 and sometimes 3 wide in front of him. That allowed second-place running Jason Feger, who was doing the opposite of high-side hustling, to close the gap and eventually overtake Shirley on lap 29 by patiently and methodically working his way past the lap traffic. We have a look at this here. This is over on the Dirt Car Racing YouTube channel, their highlight section. You can see Jason Feger has already kind of got an advantage over Brian Shirley on the backstretch as they are heading into turns 3 and 4, and he would keep that lead as they went past the start-finish line here. His first time leading tonight, and you can see all the lap traffic right there, and Feger takes the lead on the bottom there. Shirley making contact there a little bit with Mark Whitener, trying to maintain that lead. So Opie slips up into the middle. Feger's able to slip underneath him and really kind of takes that position from Brian Shirley there, and Shirley just kind of got caught up on the outside, didn't really have anywhere to go. Car obviously was not as good in the middle, which he was trying to do there. And then clearly it also wasn't as good on the bottom, even when he was forced to move down there and follow Feger around. It just was not as good because you could see Shirley's car looked like it got extraordinarily tight on the bottom and was struggling to turn. And we saw Feger pull out to a 1.7 second lead as they were maneuvering through lap traffic. And I think it was mainly just because he was just better on the bottom, and Feger didn't really have to move around. He stayed on the bottom and picked his way through the cars on the bottom. Fortunately for Shirley, he was able to clear the traffic and immediately went back to the top where he began closing on Feger, albeit he stymied himself a couple of times when he missed his marks through turns 1 and 2 and got over the cushion, significantly slowing his momentum. We can see this right here, and you can see that's not a 1.7 second gap anymore, right? That's what, 3 car lengths. He closed into him there, so he really did start making hay on the outside. But again, he would kind of make some little mistakes here, get up and over the cushion, maybe getting a little too overexcited trying to chase down Jason Feger because he saw that he was getting really close. And then Feger obviously still just kind of hitting his marks, being very consistent, patient on the bottom, really not moving from that bottom whatsoever. So obviously Shirley would not be able to get Feger there, but he would be able to significantly close that gap with a caution on lap 38, which was due to Opie spinning and collecting Ryan Unzicker and Tyler Erb, who I think were running 4th and 5th at the time. So lots of problems for your front runners, which we'll get to here in a little bit. But with that caution, Shirley was brought back to him, and he capitalized on it. Went straight to the outside. You can see Dennis Erb actually got a little bit better of a restart there, kind of nosed ahead of him there, but Shirley goes to the top and just blows past Dennis Erb Jr. there on the backstretch. Really gets a huge run here through 3 and 4 and takes the lead from Feger on lap 38 at the conclusion of lap 38 there, going into lap 39. And he wouldn't look back. He would not look back whatsoever. Although Feger did have a last chance at making a move on Shirley when a caution came out on lap 46 due to Mark Whitener getting up and over the cushion, but Shirley would not be denied. he stayed committed to the cushion and took it home to Victory Lane, and he was a very excited camper in Victory Lane. He was asked about the difference between being in lap traffic and having clean air, and he said it was huge. Feger was just really good on that hub again, and then I just didn't realize I needed to slow down and just try and get by them guys. Like, he had just a little better patience being behind him and not seeing where everybody was. Once we went down there, I felt like we were fairly good. We wasn't as good as him on the bottom, but boy, when we got on top, that old right foot effing went. He added, it feels good to get the win. We've had a tough week, had speed. All in all, with the support of Bob and Lisa Cullen, we just keep going. He then was asked about the mental challenge of knowing he had a fast car but was unable to capitalize due to the flat tire and the mechanical issues he had suffered earlier in the week. And he says, I read a quote that said, I was sitting in bed last night and just popped up. It said, don't be disappointed in what wasn't given to you because God has a better plan for something better. So just thank the good Lord. So pretty solid comments there from Brian Shirley, obviously with some perspective there on struggling throughout the early portions of the week, and then obviously having it all come together and getting the win, and deservedly so. He has been, obviously, I think, one of the favorites almost every night going in, but just hasn't been able to really put it all together, and finally was able to do so at Fairbury. So it was a great race. It was an absolutely great race. There were so many different storylines in this race. As I said, lots of the front runners suffered problems. One of them was Brandon Sheppard. He suffered a flat right rear on lap 6. Fortunately for him, he was able to actually rally and claim a 10th place finish. Drake Troutman, who was running in second and looked to challenge Shirley early, broke with a mechanical failure on lap 7. One has to wonder if Drake Troutman doesn't break, if he does indeed spoil Shirley's win there, because he looked really, really good and wasn't really letting Shirley kind of pull away from him. And his car looked even more maneuverable than Jason Feger, working both the bottom and the top early on in the race. He looked really stout. Look for him to continue to be a threat as long as he stays on the Hell Tour. I expect him to get multiple wins throughout the month of June here on the Hell Tour. He looks really, really good. On lap 10, Ryan Unsker, who inherited the second position from Troutman, jumped the cushion in turn 2 and drew a caution. Unsker would work his way back up into the top 5, but would find himself caught up in a spinning Mike Spatola, who jumped the cushion in the middle of turn 3 and 4 on lap 38. Tyler Erb, who was running 4th, was also caught up in the accident, but he was able to continue while Unsker retired. So lots of problems. I think Erb eventually finished in in 11th. And then Shannon Babb. Shannon Babb has had a really tough time, and it isn't really anything his fault, right? I don't even think he's even suffered mechanical issues or anything. He's just been caught up in other people's messes that has damaged his car and kind of put him behind, forced him to do repairs in between the heats and the features, etc., to try to get it out there, and having to take provisionals because he gets caught up in wrecks during the heat. And that happened again last night while running in second. During his heat race, he got caught up when the lap car of Harrison Oliver spun outside of him. The wreck also collected third place running McKay Winger. Both Babb and Winger took provisionals. It's the second out of 4 races that Babb had to take a provisional after getting caught up in a wreck in a heat race. He got caught up in Brendan Smith's wreck at Peoria and was forced to take a provisional there. However, just like at Peoria, he charged through the field to get a top 10 finish. At Peoria, he finished 6th, and last night he finished 7th. Here is kind of what happened to him on that there.
Of the 74, and then all of a sudden the 74 saw Troutman was there.
So obviously not anything that Babb did wrong there. He can't really avoid that. The guy spins on the outside of you, collects you, and you're stuck. But, I mean, he's clearly got speed. If he's able to keep it clean, look for him to also be a threat to win every single night. He looks really good moving through the field. And we haven't even really seen him get a really move through the field, right? Because there's been some good action towards the front of the field. So we haven't really been seeing that on TV. But clearly we have seen how he has finished 6th, 7th at Peoria, and then Fairbury last night. Here is your official finishing order. Brian Shirley in 1st, Jason Feger 2nd, Dennis Erb 3rd, Joseph Joyner 4th, Frank Heckeness Jr. 5th, Tanner English 6th, Shannon Babb 7th, Brandon Sheppard 8th, Brayton Wallace in 9th, Trevor Gundaker in 10th, Turbo in 11th, McKay Wenger took a provisional, rallied for a 12th place finish, strong run for him as well. Billy Moyer Sr., I think this is the worst he's done all week, finishing in 13th. Kyle Bronson in 14th, Clay Stuckey 15th, Jeffrey Ledford in 16th, Oakley Johns 17th, Mark Whitener 18th, Ryan Unsker 19th, Mike Spatola 20th, Dylan McCowan 21st. He had some hard luck last night as well. I think he suffered a flat right rear, and then I don't know what happened, but he got lapped and I think pulled it in to save the car. So I don't know if there was any other damage to him as well. But he had some struggles last night as well. Jake Little in 22nd, Trey Mills in 23rd, Drake Troutman 24th, Christian Hanger 25th, Mike Harrison in 26th. Harrison caught up in the first wreck of the night, I think on lap 1, and then Christian Hanger shortly thereafter, he jumped the cushion as well, and significant damage to the front of that car. They haven't updated the points yet this morning. While Feger's second place finish, but I do think that with Feger's second place finish, the top of the points have changed for the first time since Billy Moyer Sr. won the opening night of the tour at the Brownstown Bull Ring. I think he now sits atop the points with a 25-point advantage over Moyer based on 75 points for second place, and I think Moyer only gets like 30 points or something like that. So I think he now has like a 25-point advantage over Billy Moyer. I think that's what it is. My math might be wrong. I don't know. They haven't updated the site yet. So I'll post it on X or Facebook whenever they update the point standings. The Hell Tour will be at Sycamore Speedway in Maple Park, Illinois tonight to close out Week 1. Week 2 begins on Monday at Wilmot Raceway in Wilmot, Wisconsin. It then heads to Davenport Speedway on Tuesday. It continues to Quincy Raceways on Wednesday and Lee County Speedway on Thursday. On Friday and Saturday, it combines with the World of Outlaws for the 2-night St. Louis Firecracker Face-Off at I-55 Federated Auto Parts Raceway Park in Pevely, Missouri. And then it closes out Week 2 at Lincoln Speedway in Lincoln, Illinois on Sunday, June 22nd. So every single night they're going to be racing this upcoming week. So look forward to that. Should be a lot of fun. Week 1 has been great. Obviously, I know some of the races have gone into the night. Even last night went into the night, but definitely put on a show. And they have rain, and you just got to sometimes you just got to deal with it, right? So, but great racing last night. And congratulations to Brian Shirley finally getting that monkey off his back and getting into victory lane. Well-deserved win for him. But let me know what you guys make of this. Let me know in the comments below.